Jujutsu Kaisen is no stranger to the most devious of villains over the course of its 6-year run, with the announcement of JJK coming to an end in the next 5 chapters. Well, 4 as of the release of this video. I'm here to discuss the most vile, evil, and treacherous villain in all of Jujutsu Kaisen history. No, not Mahito, not Kenjaku, and not even Sukuna. I'm talking about Gege Akutami, the mangaka himself. And that's not just because Gege described their own laugh as demonic in their author note from Volume 1 of JJK. Is Gege Akutami truly evil? No, of course not. At least not to our knowledge, but it certainly feels that way as a reader of JJK, and I'll be damned if what this man did to JJK is anything short of diabolical. Obviously, since I'm discussing the story coming to its conclusion, I'll be diving into some post-anime content, so there will be manga spoilers up to the current chapter of 267. JJK is all too familiar with criticism from within and outside of the core fan base, many including myself feeling disappointed in the way certain setups in the story were settled. Toadi's return in Shibuya and ultimate exit from the series in Shibuya, and the overall lack of world building in the series as a whole. The endless pile of corpses of beloved characters with little to no development plaguing the manga throughout the entire story, and that isn't to say every death was premature, but a lot of them certainly left myself wanting more from the character, namely Geto, Kenjaku, and frankly, the entire Zenin clan. They literally got destroyed and served no greater purpose than a revenge plot for Maki. And with just 4 chapters left and the final battle against Sukuna coming to a close, the fate of most unanswered questions in the series has been sealed. And that is going to be the primary focus of this video. What are these unanswered questions and which of them are likely to receive a conclusion in the next 4 chapters? So let's start with the ones I do believe will have some closure. Hikari and Arame's fight, which has been done 99% off screen. Yes, they hoed my boy Hikari badly. The fate of Rika, who was last saw mourning the loss of Yuta's original body, and most obviously the conclusion of the Yuji and Sukuna fight. Lastly, we have whether or not the merger will actually happen. Seeing as we only have 4 chapters left, the merger happening can hardly be considered a new threat for the cast to take on, unless it ends up being a Boruto Next Generations type of situation. Somehow. Please, God, no. Do not do this to me. It's also entirely possible the merger simply just doesn't happen, but if that's the case, what happens instead needs to blow our socks off. Otherwise, the long setup would be rather anticlimactic. As for any maybes of things that could or may not be resolved, I'm not entirely sure at this point if we'll be getting a direct explanation of the demonic-looking form of Yuji's arms. Not that I'm particularly invested in that, but they kinda just showed up in chapter 238 and never had a definitive explanation on how they got that way. Perhaps it's just me and I missed something along the way. If so, please tell me in the comments, but I don't know what the resolution to that was. Now on to the actual fumbling. 4 chapters until story completion almost certainly guarantees no Heron era flashback, no backstory for Sukuna, Kenjaku, Arame, and Tengen, and literally no development on Irame's character whatsoever, other than being Sukuna's #1 and most loyal glizzy gobbler. I cannot stress enough how my personal biggest letdown in this series is the lack of development of the villain characters other than Geto, and even his conclusion felt to be unsatisfying after the setup we got in the hidden inventory arc. And yes, call me slow, I very well could be slow for this, but the way they showed Geto's death in the JJK Zero movie was not obvious. It was intentionally left ambiguous, and that's how I consumed the material. I didn't actually read the manga portion of this part of the story. But to see this man actually dead in Shibuya and it was Kenjaku controlling his body like a puppet, after the amazing setup we got for Gojo and Geto in the hidden inventory arc, which I thought they were going to explore after the flashback, pissed me off. And I say that as a Kenjaku fan, okay? No hate to Kenjaku whatsoever. I'm not saying Jujutsu Kaisen is bad. In fact, in spite of its flaws, I still believe it to be a great story. It's been incredibly fast-paced, creative fights with an intriguing power system, and the characters who did get development, mainly Gojo and Geto, were exceptionally well written, and the manga masterfully raises the stakes, leaving you wanting more with every single chapter and episode. The problem is, while it leaves you wanting more, it doesn't always give you that more. And that is the true villainy of Gege Akutami. Truth be told, I am excited to see where things go in the next 4 chapters. I mean, we did just get our girl back after a long hiatus, so Thank you for answering that particular question. From Gege's statement on the matter, it does seem like the major beats have led to the conclusion he desired for the series, so while I am disappointed in the amount of character development we received in this story and the amount of corpses that piled so quickly without much emotional depth behind it, and how quickly we're rushing to the end of this series, I still want to know what happens. I am at the edge of my seat, so it's not all bad. So while I am calling Gege Akutami jokingly a villain in this video, just like any good villain, we all want to know what he does next. So in conclusion, the biggest fumbles in regards to Jujutsu Kaisen is simply how rushed some of the most interesting elements of the show were handled. No significant plot relevance for the three great Jujutsu families, especially the Kamo family. Yes, Noritashi Kamo, you are trash. No, not that Noritashi Kamo. This bum. A lack of well-rounded development for most of the characters in the series who are just kind of stand-ins for whatever plot relevance they're supposed to serve. Especially when we're talking about any villain who isn't Suguru Geto. Don't even get me started on Kenjaku. I did enjoy his final moments and his final fight, if you could even call it that, but wasted potential all around with that character. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted, but yeah, lastly, just the trail of corpses left throughout the series with little character interactions that we wanted to see, like something meaningful between Toji and Megumi Fushiguro. I don't feel like it was enough. I think they said what they needed to, but I wanted a lot more, as I said in the video. But anyways, if you like the video, please like the video, subscribe to the page, and hit that notification bell for more uploads. And I will see you on the next one.